Hey, Kyle is wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's the NWA Weekly Products Power and USA that was from either July 12th, 15th, and 16th, depending on where you saw them. So this is the week of 12th through 16 for NWA National Wrestling Alliance. We start this week with Power. That's the flagship show. And we start with a close-up shot of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship and then see a recap from last week when Billy Corgan, the official of NWA, told us that the race for the chase for the #1 contendership and a title shot at NWA 74, the upcoming pay-per-view next month, will happen. So we weren't quite told what the rules of this were going to be, but we were told that Brian Myers versus Pope, Thom Latimer versus Chris Adonis, and shockingly, Tim Storn versus Nick Aldis will be first round matchup. So I wasn't quite sure how the tournament would shake out past that point, but we do find out in this episode. So Tim Storm had a stipulation where losing to Aldis in the past prevented Tim Storm from ever challenging for the 10 pounds of gold again. But current NWA World Heavyweight Champion Trevor Murdoch asked Corgan to lift that ban, and it was the ban was lifted. So like I said, I wasn't sure if this was gonna lead to a triple threat or what, but we do find the answer tonight. So as soon as that opening recap ends, we're in the ring and the bell rings. Already in the ring is Thom Latimer, formerly known as Bram, and Chris Adonis, formerly known as Chris Masters. If you're new to the NWA, and this will be a race for the chase match. You can see the in the video's description on YouTube that the other two matches for the race of the chase are also going to be on Power tonight. So this should be a pretty pivotal episode of Power. And then we find out at the very end of this week's episodes on the end of USA, we find out the um, finals will be next week in this tournament. So we'll find out at the end of next week's Power who will fight Trevor Murdoch for the NWA World Heavyweight title. So here we've got the former Strictly Business tag team fighting once again against each other, Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis, and they lock up with a collar and elbow to start us off. So they had a match at the last pay-per-view, Always Ready, where Thom won. And then later in that night, Thom failed in the main event to capture the NWA World title. World heavyweight title. So Latimer's already drenched. He must have dumped about 3 bottles of water on himself before the match. Adonis's hair is looking great lately. So Adonis takes early advantage with an arm hold, but Thom gets out of it and hits a drop kick. Austin Idol is now on commentary and instantly was annoying. Tim and Chris then square up and go back, or Thom and Chris, I should say, go back to the collar and elbow. Chris blocks it, and but Thom gets a headlock in instead. And now we're told that how this tournament will work. So weirdly, it won't be a triple threat match after this round. It'll be a fatal four-way match with Mike Knox getting a bye to the finals. So wow, so much for all that fair stuff Corgan was talking about earlier, but we'll find out more about this later. But he's clearly has some kind of deal with the Cardonas, which we've been hinted at. Before. So Chris trips up Thom, but doesn't really take advantage of that. So if Chris loses, you can kind of look at to that moment where he should have taken advantage. Chris then hits a shoulder tackle, but Thom hits a hip toss. And then Chris battles back, and they're quite even so far. Thom turns up the intensity now and hits some multiple corner strikes here. Chris is treating this like an exhibition, and Thom's acting like the title is at stake, which it is. So Thom definitely looking like he's more focused in this one. Latimer then works over a chin lock and hits a big clothesline. Thom stays on the attack, hitting a nice belly-to-belly suplex. Good one there. Decent match so far, but not as good as their Always Ready pay-per-view match, which we've seen recently. So Chris Adonis then turns it around with a Samoan drop and a Manhattan drop, then a flying shoulder tackle and a spine buster. So Thom's in trouble now, just barely able to kick out at 2 of the pin attempt. So Thom gets up, hits the ropes into a huge spear. That looked great. Austin Idol and Velvet Sky are insanely annoying in this match. To the point where it takes away from the match a little bit. Chris then hits a back body drop, but Thom blocks the master lock attempt. Thom then hits the brighter side of suffering, the sit out power bomb for the 1-2-3. Your winner by pinfall is Thom Latimer, and he will join Mike Knox in the 4-way in the race for the chase and not much of a match there, especially when we watched them have the pay-per-view match recently. So Idol's now making fun of Tim Storn, which upsets the other commentators, and we're told it'll also be Allison K versus Kylan King tonight, which, if you remember, was kind of set up last week, and it's almost a number one contendership match. But then I was thinking, well, maybe I remember them saying something about Natalia Markova might already be number one contender, and then we find out later in this week that neither of them are number one contender right now. So a lot going on. These are definitely some better episodes of NWA these last couple weeks, after kind of some letdown episodes after Always Ready. So the Powerrr opening video now plays after that first match, and when that ends, Kyle Davis is in the interview area. They're back in the Nashville studio after that Knoxville trip. So Kyle Davis is in the interview area with Mike Knox and questions Knox about getting the bye to the four-way. So Knox says, "My back hurts from when I picked up Bully Ray and drove him through a table. Our boss and everyone's favorite champion, Matt Cardona, made this happen. He made a deal with Corgan that if Matt gave up the title, the rest of us would all get title shots. The big man gets a bye, so suck on that." Kyle then questions Knox about Bully Ray more. Knox says I used to think that he was the big kid in town, but he's just a fraud who only cares about money. I don't know if it's the meds from my backiotomy, but I'm seeing Bully Ray everywhere. And then Knox starts acting like Kyle is Bully Ray. Kyle snaps him out of it, and Knox says, "If I ever see Bully, I'm gonna be on him. I hate him." So definitely a lot of Bully Ray mentions tonight. So if you remember the episodes, Bully Ray was at NWA, always ready to do commentaries. So the shows right after that, Bully Ray got attacked by Mike Knox, and we haven't seen him since. So we go to an ad break now, and the graphic in the ad before the ad break tells us Nick Aldis versus Tim Storn will be the main event, and next is Pope versus Brian Myers. Both of those are race for the chase tournament matches. So then when we return from, I had already wrote this down during the break. I had already wrote down when we return from break, May Valentine is in the back, because you know that they were going to come back from that break with May Valentine in the back. So she is, and she's with Carrie Morton of all people. So she asks about Homicide's offer, where if Homicide is still champion at NWA 74, he wants to face Carrie Morton. So Carrie says that's humbling and that he would that it's an amazing opportunity. My father once held that title, and it's always been a dream of mine to hold it one day too. So it looks like we might be setting up a Carrie Morton Homicide match. I can't see Homicide dropping the title before that if they were already mentioning that it might be a match. So that should be a pretty good one, a good test to see if Carrie Morton's ready for the big time, or if he still needs a little more. I mean, of course, he's going to need more training, even if he does have a good match, but you know what I mean. This will be a good test against the veteran Homicide. So that should be a good one for the junior heavyweight title at NWA 74, unless any new developments happen before then. Brian Myers is out now, the big booze, of course, and you'd have to wonder why Knox got a bye to the four-way when Myers didn't, which is kind of strange. I guess the reason that Knox said is because his back hurt. So I guess that's the reason. Pope comes out now to big cheers. The winner of this match will join Knox and Latimer in the four-way. So they start with a collar and elbow, and Pope takes it to the mat, but Myers keeps the lock applied. They do a little bit of grappling and counter each other for a bit, both working on the arms of each other. So Pope then quickens the pace, hits a shoulder tackle and an arm drag. Pope goes back to the arm and hits another shoulder tackle after that, then counters a hip toss into one of his own. So Pope with a good flurry at the beginning here. Pope went right from that arm drag to an arm lock, and Myers is definitely in trouble, so he rakes the face of Pope. Pope gets to the ropes after this, but there's no clean break from Myers. The crowd's booing big time now. Myers then goes on the attack with some strikes and a headlock. The crowd rallies behind Pope, who's able to get out. But Myers trips Pope with a really smart move to keep control, and Myers now working the crowd over for more boos. They then drops a couple of Dolph Ziggler rapid elbows on the Pope and puts a headlock on him. The crowd rallies even louder now for Pope, and Pope counters a back body drop into an inside cradle pin attempt for a 2 count, atomic drop, and a Russian leg sweep by Pope for a 2 count. and this is one of the best TV matches we've seen on NWA this month. I think this is some really good action here. So Myers counters the next move and hits a flatliner for a 2 count. And Myers charges Pope, but Pope counters with a spin kick into a DDT. Myers is just barely able to kick out of that one. Myers then goes to the corner with some strikes, gets Pope caught in there. Myers is talking trash and slaps Pope across the face. This fires up Pope, who then slaps back, hitting a flurry of strikes after that. Myers is in a bad way now, and the crowd's cheering loudly, so you know exactly what that means. Myers simply rolls up Pope, holds onto the ropes for leverage, and gets the 1, 2, 3. Your winner by pinfall is Brian Myers. So now the Cardona's tag team will be half of the competitors in the 4-way to decide the number 1 contender for the NWA World Heavyweight title. So that's an interesting development right there. No matter who wins the main event, they know that they're going to have to fight both Cardonas, the tag team of Brian Myers and Mike Knox. So that's interesting. We go to an ad break, and when we come back, May's again in the back with Jordan Clearwater, Church's Money, Black G's, and NWA television champion Tyrus. So May's acting super weird and flirting with Tyrus. She says his reign as champion has been outstanding and he's an inspiration. Tyrus is all happy and appreciates the kind words. May says he's so strong and he's handsome. So Tyrus is beside himself at this point. Black G's gets upset and says, if you want to talk to the champ, you got to talk to the Church's Money. The title right here is money, and word on the street, Odinson is number 1 contender. So what you think about that, big dog? So Tyrus says, Odinson is here for a reason, but let me explain something. Do you remember what happened to the last number 1 contender? And Jordan says, he ended up in a wheelchair, and Mims, you'll never taste gold. Speaking of gold, and then Jordan Clearwater opens his robe and acting like ravishing Rick Rude. So we go from that to Artie in the ring, Allison K and Kylan King with the bell ringing. So they take each other down with some headlocks, but neither can gain control. Allison hits a big shoulder tackle, but King answers back with one of her own. Good start to this match. Like I said, almost like a pivotal, not really a number 1 contendership match, but a pivotal match in the title hunt. So Allison then hits a stun gun on the ropes and a lariat for a 2 count to gain control. First person to have control in this match. Allison hits some body punches and chops across the chest, but Kylan King counters and hits some chops of her own that looked and sounded devastating. Allison comes back with a flurry of chops and knees, and then a big I wrote down spinster. I don't even remember what that means, but for a 2 count, and Allison puts a half crab on, but King gets to the ropes right away. Allison stays right on her, but King counters with some strikes. Allison keeps control with more strikes and is now trash talking King as well. So Allison hits a corner shoulder thrust, and both women hit a clothesline at the same time. So they're both down. Once they get up on their knees, they start a striking exchange, which looked pretty cool. As they continued the striking exchange on their feet, they each dodge a kick, but Allison connects with a really nice roundhouse kick to the head. Allison then charges in, but King blocks it with a back elbow. Then more strikes and a snap German suplex gets King a 2 count. Great match here. Great matches all around here in NWA this week. So Allison then blocks a back suplex attempt, but King just hits an exploder suplex instead. This gets another 2 count. King goes up to the top rope, but Allison meets her with a forearm. Then lifts King off, looking for the Dominator, but Allison hits a nasty. King is able to escape, but Allison just hits a nasty vertebraker, which somehow King kicks out of. That's pretty wild. So Allison's all mad, but stays on the attack. She doesn't get discouraged. King is able to block a pile driver attempt, and back bodies drops out of it. And Allison hits the knee, but couldn't fully apply the half crab. King gets out of it and hits the Excalibuster pump handle suplex for the 1, 2, 3. The winner by pinfall is Kylan King. So King goes on over to the interview area with Kyle Davis. Kyle asks what's the rationale behind being the gatekeeper for NWA Women's Champion Camille. And King says it's simple. I was advised by the man that trained both of us, Bully Ray, that staying close to the champ is in my best interest. So we pretty much already knew that, but now we're told. And we were pretty much setting up a rematch the night after they had their title match at Always Ready. So I'm looking forward to that one. Should be pretty good. So in the back with May now is NWA World Heavyweight Champion Trevor Murdoch, who we have not seen in quite a while. May says it's great that you helped lift the band with for Tim Storm. Murdoch says, I just did the right thing, what anybody else should do. All I did was right a wrong. I don't care who I face at NWA 74. I'll take on any of them. But please understand something. If you come for the NWA champion, you will go through hell. Decent little promo there by Murdoch. Just we didn't really need much more than that. So simple and to the point. It's now time for the main event of Powerrr, and Idol says it's crap that Storm is back, but it won't last long, so he's not worried. So Nick Aldis comes out first, and then Tim Storm behind him, and this is a classic NWA rivalry over the last decade or so. These two men helped NWA rise from the ashes, so this match is an important one with title implications in the present on the line as well. So the bell rings, and they start with a collar and elbow. Clean break given by Storm here, so keep that in your mind. Storm looking to have a friendly exhibition, but tough match here. Storm then Storm's like a bulky guy, but I definitely just looking at him in the ring, I feel like he could definitely work a 30-minute match, no problem, even at his age and bulk. So Storm takes control now, and Aldis dodges a corner attack, then slaps Tim Storm across the face. So the friendly exhibition goes out the window at this point. Idol says Aldis is trying to throw Storm off his game, and that's exactly what he's trying to do here. Aldis apologizes and shakes the hand of Tim Storm. Aldis says, I'm sorry, and then loudly, even bigger slap across the face of Tim Storm now. And now Aldis bails the ring. Storm chases after him and hits some punches, but Aldis reverses an Irish whip that was going to send him into the post, and he sends Tim Storm head first into the post instead, maybe shoulder first. Aldis now is talking some trash and gets it back in the ring, hitting a snaps vertical suplex. Aldis then hits knees into the back and applies a chin lock. The crowd rallies behind Tim Storm at this point. Storm fights back, but Aldis applies a sleeper hold. Storm quickly gets out with a Saito suplex. Storm then hits a neck breaker combo, or a kick neck breaker combo for a 2 count. Kind of clunky on that one. Forearms from Storm now, a clothesline, back elbow, and a big boot has Storm in charge. Aldis slaps Storm again for the 3rd time now. Storm gets really mad, hits a flurry of mounted punches. Aldis turns the momentum around with a DDT. Aldis then goes up to the top rope and hits the elbow drop to the back of Tim Storm. Aldis now locks in the cloverleaf, and Storm is in major trouble with a hurting back here, but he's able to get to the ropes. Storm breaks the hold, but is still in big trouble with his back. Storm counters the next move and hits the perfect Storm black hole slam, but Aldis is just barely able to get his foot on the rope to stop the pin. So Aldis drops to avoid a shoulder tackle, and Storm takes out the referee at this point. Another perfect Storm black hole slam is hit by Tim Storm, but there is no referee. So eventually, Aldis gets up and tries to attack from behind, but Storm blocks it and kicks Aldis right between the legs into the yam bag. And the bell rings. The ref had come to and saw Tim Storm's actions. Your winner by disqualification is Nick Aldis. So Nick's plan to make Storm mad enough to get DQ'd worked perfectly here, and Aldis is on the ground in pain, holding the yam bag, but he has a huge evil smile on his face as he will now be in the Fatal 4-Way number 1 contendership match next week on Powerrr. It'll be Mike Knox, Thom Latimer, Brian Myers, and Nick Aldis. So Powerrr ends with Tim Storm in disbelief and angry. So big stuff here. I know some of you NWA purists might not be huge with the couple cheating victories and a guy that just gets a bye to the next round, but we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. Maybe Thom Latimer will be the one who gets out of there, the only one who actually won legitimately in his first round match without cheating and stuff. But sets up a pretty good Powerrr next week with that 4-way. But let's just go right into NWA USA, which was from today, July 16th, 2022. It comes out every Saturday for free on YouTube at noon. So just like Powerrr this week, USA starts out with the bell ringing for a match. Already in the ring, it'll be a 3-way match in the junior heavyweight division. Rhett, Titus, Gustavo, and Matt Vine. So Matt Vine attacks Gustavo from behind to start the match. Titus grapples with Vine, but Vine's able to get out of it, showing good grappling himself. I'm most familiar with Rhett Titus in this match, and I know he has good grappling. So good job by Matt Vine to show he has just as good as grappling. If you want to know where Rhett Titus was from, he's a very long time veteran of ROH. So anyway, Vine takes Titus out with a big lariat. Then Vine hits a knee on Titus and gets a lot of boos from the crowd. So Vine is definitely the heel in this match. Vine hits a pump handle slam on Gustavo onto Titus. That looked great. Vine then strikes both men and is looking dominant. And if you couldn't look any more dominant, Vine then applies a chin lock on both men at the same time. I can't remember the last time, if ever, I've seen that. That was pretty cool. Gustavo then flips out of a suplex attempt, but Vine blocks a suplex. Titus comes over to help Gustavo, and they both hit a suplex on Vine. Then both apply submissions on Vine. I think it was a camel clutch and an ankle lock. And then Titus puts a dragon sleeper on Gustavo right after that. So what a really fun, quick junior heavyweight triple threat match to open up USA here. Vine then breaks up the hold and hits a super kick on Gustavo. Titus breaks up the pin and blocks Vine's attack twice. Then Titus goes up to the top rope and hits a perfect crossbody on Vine. Titus then counters a move into a waist lock, but Vine elbows out of this. Gustavo then goes for Destino, but then gets caught by the other guy. Like, he was trying Destino, I think, on Vine, but then Titus catches him when he tried to do it. Titus hits a drop kick and a Northern Lights pin on Gustavo for the 1-2-3. Your winner by pinfall is Rhett Titus. This match was super quick, really fun, great stuff in the junior heavyweight division here. So I'm looking forward to seeing more out of these three guys. Vine looked great. That was I think the first match I've seen out of Matt Vine, so that was pretty cool. Then we see that today Luke Hawx is going to be looking for revenge against Colby Corino. That'll be the main event on USA. And we're also told an incident happened earlier involving Tyrus, which is a very strange incident. Wait till we get to that one. I took a lot of notes on that one. It was so strange. But then the opening video plays for NWA USA so both shows this week started with a match and then had the opening video after that. So in the back with May are VSK and Chelsea Green. May says VSK failed in his title shot. If you remember, he lost, I think, last week to Homicide. And but then May says Chelsea will be getting a title shot against Camille on a future episode of Powerrr. So I don't know if she said next week or what, but I don't think she said next week, so I'm not going to say that it was, but just a future episode of Powerrr, and that's what I was talking about. It's not Camille. I mean, it's not Kylan King, and it's not Markova. That's number one contender. It is Chelsea Green because of that deal that Corgan made with Matt Cardona to take the title off of him. So Chelsea then forgets Camille's name, or acts like she forgets Camille's name, and then says that she herself, Chelsea, is money and the face of the women's division. So I just saw one of the worst matches I've seen in a while. Chelsea Green had about 8 or 9 botches against Mickie James on Impact this last week. So let's see if she can do a little bit better against Camille. It's now time for Stanley's drill segment, which I wasn't excited for until he says that the guest this week is Gags the Gimp. Gags the Gimp is definitely becoming one of my favorites in NWA. Every segment seemingly funny, except the streak is broken. This segment isn't very funny. So anyway, Gags and Stanley have a box of pizza, and Stanley asks what his deal is. Why do you wear a mask? What do you like about me? Gags never says anything. He puts the pizza in Stanley's face, who says, like, look at me. Does it look like I eat pizza? I mean, you look like a normal bloke to me, Stanley. So why wouldn't you eat pizza? Anyway, Gags unzips his mouth zipper and sticks his tongue out, getting ever closer to Stanley, who says, get away from me. Do you even sanitize that? And then he says, this is Bush League. I'm done. And I agree. This was kind of Bush League. So he leaves. Gags picks up the mic, but just sticks out his tongue again. And yes, this was the worst Gags the Gimp segment. Yet maybe because Stanley's terrible. He's just a cheap imitation of Corey Graves. And even the original Corey Graves shtick has gotten old at this point. So Gags definitely needs Father James Mitchell to talk for him in these segments. Because when they're those two together, it's comedy gold. So pretty good stuff overall on these NWA shows this week, but this one was a miss. After the ad break plays, now we get the incident, and this is really ridiculous. So, after the ad break, we're told we're going to see the entrance incident with Tyrus from earlier. Then spooky music plays as we see a black screen with white writing over it, and the text reads, the footage you are about to see has been provided by the mother of NWA star KC Roxx. So I'm like, what the heck is this? I'm definitely intrigued. What is going to happen here? So we see a woman holding an NWA cast crew pass, and she says Grandpa got her this backstage pass. And Casey's here. He's going to wrestle. So I guess we're to assume this is KC Roxx's mother. So then Tyrus and Black G's interrupt the training session by yelling. So the camera phone turns from Roxy's mother to watch whatever this disturbance is. So now we see Aaron Stevens is doing some training with KC Roxx in the ring. Tyrus and Black G's claim KC was talking trash about them. KC says he didn't, but Tyrus and Black G's now get into the ring to confront him. Tyrus asks, why is KC's mom here? KC's mom now starts talking, but Tyrus hits a choke slam on KC Roxx. So now KC's mom gets in the ring and shoves them away from her son. Black G's just says that he's been assaulted. Tyrus tells her to get her child out of a grown man's ring, and Casey's mom then tells Aaron to call someone. So hilariously, Aaron Stevens then says, well, who do you want me to call? His mama? So great throwback to somebody call my mama Funkasaurus, Tyrus. That was pretty funny. So KC says something. I don't know what it was, but Black G's gets mad that he's still running his mouth. But then everyone leaves, and Casey's mother was even mad at Aaron Stevens. Just wanted to say, hey, I'm Aaron. And then his mom freaked out on him. So he's like, well, you don't want to know, you want to be on a first name basis with the guy trying to help your son? Fine. So Aaron Stevens leaves as well. Super strange segment there, but I can't say I hated it. It was interesting. So after the ad break, we see the ending of the Storm Aldis match, and then May Valentine's in the back with Jenna side. So May mentions Jenna's displeasure at not being in the title picture. Jenna butchers the 7th word of her promo, and despite this not being live, they didn't have her redo it. So speaking of Bush League, it would have only been 10 seconds of redoing to redo that. So anyway, Jenna doesn't understand why Markova and Taya just walk into the NWA and get more opportunities than her. So wait till she finds out Chelsea Green's the #1 contender. Then she'll be really mad. So anyway, it's main event time for USA as Luke Hawx comes out. He's all fired up for this one as he wants revenge on Colby. So Colby Corino comes out, and we hear Luke yell in the background that he will end Colby's life tonight. So that's intense. So this is going to be an intense one. The bell rings as Luke charges in. No clean break on the by Luke on that one. Colby bails the ring, and Luke gives chase. Back in the ring now, Luke ducks under a big boot attempt and hits a nice flying shoulder tackle. Luke mounts for some punches. Oh, wait, no, this wasn't mounted punches. Just big punches and a belly-to-belly suplex into more punches, really showing the intensity here. Colby tries to run away, but gets caught with some more strikes. Luke hits another vertical suplex for a 2 count and applies a chin lock. Colby rakes the eyes to get out of there and take control and hits the worst move in the NWA for the week is Colby Corino's terrible looking backbreaker after that eye rake. Colby follows that with a neck breaker, I should have said. Colby follows that with a better looking swinging neck breaker. The first one was just a regular neck breaker. Colby's in control now and hits some strikes before applying a crossface. Luke gets up to his feet and Colby dodges a back fist and hits the Olympic slam. Good move there. Colby nips up but misses the Corino crush due to talking to the crowd and before giving Luke time to recover. So Luke goes back on the attack now with some more punches. Colby counters a back elbow but eats a Luke spin kick. Luke then hits a pump handle slam for a 2 count. Colby kicks out, but of course is now kind of hurt on that one. Luke hits a massive forearm, then a scoop slam into a knee drop for another 2. Colby counters with a drop toe hold, sending Luke face first into the turnbuckle. A cannonball senton by Colby, who then goes to the top rope. Colby again is taking too long talking to the crowd, so Luke catches the crossbody attempt and hits a nice backbreaker, shoulder breaker, and power slam combo, all 3 in a row. Really good looking move there. Colby still kicks out of this. Now Luke's arguing with the ref, allowing Colby to recover. Little mistake there. Colby counters yet another reckless charge from Luke. About 3 or 4 times, reckless charges from Luke were countered or dodged by Colby, sending Luke into the outside of the ring this time. Colby slingshots to the outside, but Luke catches him, and I think the next move was a botch. But when Luke caught him, he pretty much lost his grip instantly. But Luke saves this by hitting a Death Valley driver instead, so it looked fine, and it also looked very painful for Colby, who's definitely beaten up now. So Colby counters a move, but Luke throws Colby into the steel steps. Back in the ring now, Colby pulls an object out of his tights, hits Luke in the head with it. The referee did not see it, and Colby gets the 1, 2, 3. The winner by pinfall is Colby Corino. A lot of heels cheating to get wins this week, but that's how you got to do it to set up a pay-per-view. You can't have events if you don't have heel heat, so I understand it for sure. We're told next week on Powerrr, it will be the big 4-way number 1 contendership match. That should be great. So big things on the line these last couple of weeks and going into the future here, and things are setting up nicely for NWA 74 pay-per-view, which is in a month's time. So 2 straight weeks of great shows from NWA after a couple disappointing weeks before that. So as we get closer to NWA, things are definitely NWA 74, things are definitely heating up. So good stuff there. A lot of good matches this week. Short as always. All these NWA television matches are short, but once you realize that they're always going to be short, you can just expect them to be short and enjoy them for what they are. Good short matches. So especially that triple threat junior heavyweight match, go check that one out. Very short match, but very fun to watch. So I'm gonna get going. I'll be back with more NWA coverage next Saturday, and in the meantime, I cover all kinds of things on this channel, including G1 from New Japan. So you can check out the first night of G1 happened last night, and I'll be back in a few hours to cover night 2. So I'll talk to you again soon. Have a great one. Peace.